My name is Manuel Tong, and together with my colleague Giordano Mion, we have developed this project on the impact of offshore profit shifting on the measurement of GDP, focusing on the case of the UK. This project takes as a starting point the premise that multinational enterprises have the ability to locate their intangible assets everywhere, and that gives them access to multiple heterogeneous tax locations via its subsidiaries. As a result, this practice makes MNEs assign their assets in a more profitable way, thus breaking the link between value creation and value declaration. As a consequence, we observe a mismeasurement, a possible mismeasurement of MNE's activities and their contribution to GDP in their resident countries. This project is inspired by a previous research by Gouvenin and other authors in 2017, focusing on the case of the United States. These authors find that by offshore profit shifting, the United States obtains a total missing gap of $3.6 trillion of GDP between 1994 and 2014, as well as a 1.5 percentage point gap in the US cumulative productivity growth. Our paper is taking the insights from this previous research into the UK context. However, we move one step forward in the sense that we are considering both UK and non-UK multinational enterprises operating in the UK in order to have a broader picture of offshore profit shifting. As a result, we provide a country and industry breakdown of losers and winners of this practice of offshore profit shifting between 2007 and 2017. For the purpose of our project, we rely on data provided by Orbis at the firm level. Orbis stores several types of data, and we basically rely on the financial data set and ownership links at the firm level. The financial data set is basically balance sheet data at the firm level, and the ownership links retrieve the relation between one single firm or affiliate with its parent company. By processing this data, these two data sets, we obtain a final panel merging balance sheet data with ownership links of all subsidiaries belonging to multinational enterprises with any presence in the UK, covering the period between 2007 and 2017. With this final data set, we proceed to our empirical approach, in which we retrieve information of profits for each subsidiary as well as profits from the parent company, and we apply an apportionment rule, which objective is to find how the profit distribution within each multinational enterprise group composed by the parent plus the subsidiaries, how this distribution would be if profits were linked to each firm's local economic activity. That local economic activity could be measured by either their operating revenue or turnover, which is the main result we base our findings in this project, as well as the cost of employees, which we use for robustness. By applying this rule, we obtain some striking results for the UK, and these are expressed in the following tables and graphs that I'm going to share. In the left-hand side table, we provide some basic statistics on balance sheet variables covering the period of 2007, considering only unconsolidated accounts registered by firms in the Orbis dataset. We see that for both UK firms and for the global outcome covering the whole dataset in the third column, the profits before taxes exceed the operating profits. If we have a result in which PBT minus OP is greater than 0, that means preliminarily that multinational enterprises transfer profits from the parent companies to their subsidiaries. Okay, so this is more or less what we are trying to illustrate, and this is the practice that the previous research on the US has also found. If we apply the apportionment rule described before and we calculate these estimates for the UK, we see in the right-hand side table that we are comparing the actual profits before taxes by firms in the UK, and we compare it with that counterfactual constructed via this apportionment rule. We see that in 2017, the actual profits before taxes registered exceed that counterfactual, which means that in 2007, the UK has a net winning position in terms of offshore profit shifting, represented by a gap of 41 billion pounds. In terms of the UK GDP, this amount makes up to 1.91% of the total UK GDP in that year. But if we look back 10 years ago, the figures in 2007 look quite different because the counterfactual profits before taxes are greater than the actual ones, which means that we have a negative result of 24 billion pounds, which means that in 2007, the UK was a net loser in terms of profit shifting. If we go below and look at the graphs in which we illustrate the evolution of offshore profit shifting for the UK over time from 2007 to 2017, we see that effectively in 2007, the UK was in a net losing position, but that position was reversed in 2009, moving from a losing to a winning position of around 40 billion pounds per year. If we want to be more specific and we look at the next graph, in which we only consider the profit shifting practice by UK-owned multinationals working in the UK, we realized that this type of multinationals, those that are owned by UK firms, are the main drivers of this positive balance found since 2009. And finally, if we want to determine which industries or sectors are the main drivers of these overall results, we see that in 2017, the top 5 contributors of the net winning position for the UK were industries like crude petroleum and natural gas, with almost 8 billion pounds of positive result, followed by mining of metal ores with almost 7 billion, telecommunications with over 6 billion, as well as pharmaceuticals, and finally coke and refined petroleum products with 5.89 billion. On the contrary, looking at the bottom 3 contributors, those with the largest negative result in terms of profit shifting, we find that surprisingly, the main loser is the financial service activities industry with almost 9 billion pounds of negative result, followed by basic metals with nearly 4 billions, and machinery and equipment with almost 2.2 billion pounds.